Hello, this is Ken Shields, and I am providing the Week 4 assignment, Data Patterns, for the Business Intelligence Patterns and Recognition course on November 18, 2018. The first item for this assignment that we'll look at is using Bayes' theorem to calculate the cost of the data and compare this to the value of the data. So I collected data from Orlando Health's annual financial reports for the years of 2014 through 2017, and below I provided the probability rules. Continuing with Bayes' theory, this slide shows the probability of Orlando Health's profits increasing given that the accounts receivable fund source decreases. So the probability of that happening is 8.61%. So it's likely that the profits will increase if the accounts receivable decrease. This next slide shows the probability of profits increasing given that the accounts receivable fund source increases, and the probability of that happening is 8.64%. So again, it is likely that profits will increase if the accounts receivable accounts increase. And the last item that we will look at concerning Bayes' theorem is the probability of profits increasing given the probability that the accounts payable fund source increases. And the outcome for that was 10.96%. So it's more likely that profits will increase given that the accounts payable fund source increases. Next, I'll be answering the question, what variables change the outcome the most? We'll be looking at data patterns and data trends. The variables that change the outcome of the data the most would be accounts receivable and accounts payable. The data shows that as payables increase, the annual profits from receivables and payables decrease. However, there remains an 11% chance of making a profit. If payables continue to increase, the chances of making a profit will decrease over time. Please see the next slide to review the chart that I have provided. The next questions are, is clustering appropriate, and how are the data associated? Clustering is important whenever looking at data for two reasons. According to tutorialspoint.com, the main advantage of clustering over classification is that it is adaptable to changes and helps single out useful features that distinguish different groups. Clustering analysis is also broadly used in many applications such as market research, pattern recognition, data analysis, and image processing. On the other hand, data association is more useful to sales and marketing analysis, and according to Oracle, association rules are often used to analyze sales transactions. For example, it might be noted that customers who buy cereal at the grocery store often buy milk at the same time. In fact, association analysis might find that 85% of the checkout sessions that include cereal also include milk. This relationship could be formulated as the following rule. For that point, data association, it would not be appropriate for this data. Next, I will discuss are correlations spatial, temporal, or coincidental, and I will identify the correlations. Considering the amount of data used in this assignment, and if this was not the most appropriate data, then any correlations that exist would be coincidental versus a temporal correlation. With limited understanding of what the term truly means based on the data there is little evidence that the profits of Orlando Health are completely controlled by the changes in accounts receivable and accounts or from accounts receivable and accounts payable. So, based on the correlation table, there are strong positive correlations between row 1 and row 2, row 1 and row 3, and row 2 and row 3. Now, row 1 equals accounts receivable, row 2 equals accounts payable, and row 3 equals profits. So there's a strong correlation between accounts receivable and accounts payable. There's a strong positive correlation between accounts receivable and profits, and there's a strong positive correlation between accounts payable as well as profits. Next, I will discuss how can network analysis be used to improve understanding, and we will talk about some social media analytics sites that are out there. Network analysis can be used to expand, improve, or track a product, service, or brand. For example, Twitter analytics for Orlando Health can be used to track how many people are engaged with Orlando Health's network manager or its employees. If a manager or an employee of Orlando Health posts a tweet, how many people are responding to that post? Is the feedback negative or positive? Are individuals responding or reading tweets on a daily? Information found in these followers, customers or clients' response could be used to expand, improve, or track a product, service, or brand. See examples of network analysis below taken from keyhole.com for Orlando Health. Based on the social network analysis, what trends emerge? How can they be capitalized upon or optimized? What resources would be needed? What would the cost be? Is it worth it to optimize them? If this question is related to question number 5, then the trends that emerge are ultimately gaining a sense of what people are thinking about Orlando Health, what people are saying about Orlando Health, and how people feel about Orlando Health as the services and the services provided by Orlando Health and its affiliates. The feedback about Orlando Health could be used to leverage decisions for the future development of the hospital and its affiliates. The information can be used to determine if and where an emergency room would be built. The network could be used to gain access to a larger or smaller sample population and obtain feedback faster and easier versus sending physical mail to a physical location. The cost would be minimum, but would be completely worth it. The cost for using Keyhole is below. Please review the information below and move on to the next slide. As we look back at the Orlando Health data provided in the beginning of the presentation, where do you see this data going in the next week, the next month, the next year, or the next year? How does your trend analysis support this? So I provided a chart for your review. It's based on the accounts receivable, accounts payable, and the profits of Orlando Health in 2014 through 17. Based on the chart, there will not be an immediate effect on profits determined from accounts receivable and accounts payable. However, in the next couple of years, if accounts payable continue to increase, the chances of Orlando Health making a profit from these fund sources will decrease. Also, based on my analysis, if I was planning to expand internationally, which country would I move into and why? I selected 3 random countries and making some assumptions from the following determination and making some assumptions. The following determinations were made. The country that I would recommend would be India, because based on the number scale created, this country offers the least likelihood that extreme issues would occur. Considering the country's size, the first objective would be to locate a site for a new hospital or clinic. Another idea would be supporting a current hospital or clinic. Additionally, India is one of the most populated places on earth. The issue is, again, the size, and that means people are spread throughout the country, and some areas are very remote. But I would still recommend India for expansion. Please review the next two slides that include a chart as well. That includes a chart and the breakdown or the scale rules. Thank you. This concludes my presentation.